Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Black History Month. I would like to read you guys something out of one of my favorite books that I know you will find interesting, and I know that you will find quite pertinent to what we deal with in regards to Black civilization today. Was there a sophisticated Black civilization? If there was, how long ago was it? What happened? Like the Amazon rainforest, Europeans have never thought of Central Africa as a significant place in world affairs. For the most part, they've gone into Central Africa to obtain resources and have never stayed too long or made it too deep into the inferior to find out anything more. By the time a few anthropologists came to Central Africa, the slave raiders had wreaked havoc and left things a mess. When they weren't. We're going to read this asterisk right here. One place they couldn't do as much damage was towards Western Africa. West Africans already knew about smallpox and even invented the inoculation for it, the earliest form of a vaccine. Isn't that interesting? Which they later taught the Europeans, and after so many other original people. After so many years of exposure to the deadly disease, they were more resistant to it than many of other original people. This was one of the reasons why West Africans survived slavery in the Americas, while Native Americans could not survive. European historians like to make it sound as if the Native Americans were simply weak, but the truth is they were significantly weakened by the exposure to Europeans and their diseases. Let's go to another page right here. Kidnapping outright, they escalated conflicts between neighboring people into full-fledged wars and later genocides, providing firearms to whoever provided them slaves, thereby making things worse and worse. In 1901, economic sociologist Carl Butcher reported on the agricultural societies that were left in ruins. Now, isn't that interesting? It sounds like some of the things that some of our the Europeans do today, is they create the problem. They create the precursor to a lot of people's genocides. They provide the arms. They provide the finances that one would need to go to war, creating conflict, and then coming in when everything is said and done and reaping the benefits. Travelers have often described the deep impression made upon them when, on coming out of the dreary primitive forest, they happened suddenly upon the well-attended fields of the natives. In the more thickly populated parts of Africa, these fields often stretch for many a mile, and the assiduous care of the Negro women shines in all the brighter light when we consider the insecurity of life, the constant feuds and pillages in which no one knows whether he will in the end be able to harvest what he was sown. Livingstone gives somewhere a graphic description of the devastations wrought by slave hunts. The people were lying about slain. The dwellings were demolished. In the fields, however, the grain was ripening, and there was none to harvest. At that same time, they raided for slaves and laid these villages to waste. They ravaged the people with biological warfare. Yes, biological warfare. You see, wherever Europeans went, they brought a ton of diseases, such as syphilis, influenza, smallpox, measles, diphtheria, and tuberculosis. I butchered that word, but it is what it is. Most of the people they encountered had never had such diseases, so they had no resistance to these illnesses and began dying rapidly. This happened in the Americas, Australia, East Africa, South Africa, Southern Asia, and East Asia, but the Pacific Islands, you name it. In Central Africa, they destabilized the region so heavily that it has taken centuries to recover. But when Europeans first came into the area, they reported highly sophisticated nation states. Let's say that again. When Europeans first came into the area, they reported highly sophisticated nation states. So that kind of goes against the narrative that people were savages and living in huts before Europeans came, often with governmental procedures they did not fully understand. Chancellor Williams' The Destruction of Black Civilization is especially insightful on this regard. These Europeans did not, however, have any difficulty understanding the wealth these people enjoyed. As Robert Bailey notes in 365 Days of Real Black History Calendar, a 16th century traveler visited the Central African kingdom of Kenub Borno and commented that even the emperor's dogs had chains of finest gold. Naturally, it was long before problems caused. Central Africa was soon engulfed in tribal warfare, with kingdoms competing to trade prisoners of war for guns and ammunition to defend themselves against neighboring kingdoms doing the same. thing. Now, it is quite interesting. What this is basically saying is that before the Europeans came, there were modern, sophisticated societies that operated in a way that they understood, that the original people understood. And that which goes against the narrative that black people had no civilizations. They did. It was modernized, it was sophisticated, and this was before the European. So, quite interesting. This book is a great read. I read it very often. When the World Was Black, The Untold History of the World's First Civilizations. This is part 1. There's a part 2. I'm like a quarter way through the book, and I have a new understanding of what it means to be black around the world. So you guys have a blessed day. Hope you guys have a great day. Like, share, and subscribe. If you enjoy this content, leave a comment, share it, subscribe it, like it. Please and thank you. Y'all have a blessed one. I'm out.